Hey guys, so yet again, I guess I get proven right. Even though places, corporations like Microsoft, Apple, IBM, Mac, Linux, they won't come out, or anybody else, if you will, won't come out and admit it. But it seems that, when you have the option, when you're given it, and I've talked about this, ad nauseum. I've talked about this ad nauseum. But when you have the option given to you by Windows, with whether or not you have Windows 10 or 11 installed, when you are given the option to pause the updates for as long as you want, I think the maximum could be like 35, 40 days, if you will. I mean, you let it go up until a certain date, and then if you're given the option to you, you could pause it for another, certain amount of days. Well, once again, I decide I'm going to hold off on the updates, and I do. But it seems that, Windows wants to basically update as much as they can. And I know Microsoft will not come out and admit that. But it's true. Because every time, I was doing something, it felt like it took a little longer to load. Like now it's completely fine because I let the update happen yesterday while I was at my older sister's along with my mom to watch the 49ers and, Detroit Lions championship game. So, I took that opportunity to let it update itself. Now, it already had updated itself a little bit. I mean, I was letting it update like a couple weeks ago, just for the heck of it, just to get out of the way. And for some reason, it got stuck, in one area for too long. Now, I'm assuming it was just building up, the necessary, I guess you could say, software or knowledge or whatever you want to call it to, proceed. But it stayed at 5%, and that bothered me. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see what the best opportunity is going to be, and the best opportunity was yesterday. So I paused it until yesterday, and then I unpaused it to proceed, with the updates, to have it proceed with the updates and everything. Now, I actually had paused it for a week later, but that's because I was doing things with my Windows Movie Maker and such, and I didn't want to be interrupted. I didn't want to take a chance because I was actually working on piecing together my Royal Rumble review. So I didn't want to be, disrupted. So anyway, I end up, like I said, allowing the updates to happen while I'm gone yesterday. And they did complete. And I did allow it to, go through its phase, update and shut down. When it starts updating up to 30%, then it goes off, then comes back on because it's basically going into restart mode, finishes things off, and then after that's done, it goes into cleanup mode, and then after that, it turns off, and I allowed it to do that. And I left it off for about maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, about an hour. And then I turned it back on, and I laid back down on my bed. I laid down on my bed, I should say, after I unmade it so I can get some sleep. And I allowed it to progress throughout the night. I allowed it to progress throughout the night. And lo and behold, it is now working perfectly. It is up to date. But again, what really gets under my skin, and I know I'm not the only one, is, why do we even have these updates if Windows, Apple, Mac, I guess both are one and the same, Linux, or anybody else that has software that's, already pre-installed into the computers or laptops or Chromebooks, why do they even give us these options to pause up to 35 days or more if they're going to insist in their own unique way that you update? Because like I said, I could be going to another page, and I should be able to go to that page seamlessly, right? Even with ads popping up and moving images or video, I should go there without an issue, right? But for some odd reason, every time I pause the updates for a lot longer than they're normally planned for, I basically get, a slowdown. Now, I don't know if maybe that, now, I can't say whether or not that slowdown is because it needs the updates. It probably does. But, to me, you're giving us you're giving us this option. It should allow our computers to run smoothly. And just before anybody says anything, I have enough space on this computer that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be a problem. But yet, it seems that anytime I pause the updates for, a substantial length of time, it's almost like Windows is fighting it. It's like Windows is fighting it. It's like it's trying to do an update, but it can't. And thus, it's causing my computer to kind of slow down a little bit. It's almost like, that pause option, in my opinion, is not even worth having. So, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, why even give it to us? I mean, if you're insistent that we go out and do this, then guess what? Have us do it. Have us do it. I mean, I'm just saying, it makes more sense if you did. Now, thankfully, something that has been, I guess, added in is, one of the updates that's there, because there is an update there, it's optional. It is an optional update if you want to install it. And it says preview. So my thought is, this is basically telling us that we're going to get a major update later this year. When that's going to be, we don't know. But if it says preview, I'm assuming we're going to get a major update for Windows 10 and 11. But if not, and it's just a preview for next month's update, then okay, fine. Totally understanding of that. But still, it's like, that doesn't really make any sense if it's just, a regular monthly update that you want us to preview, and then all it does is just the same thing all the other updates do every month. So to me, honestly, it's got to be signifying we're getting a major update soon. But, but outside of that, now they even give us the option to get notified when new updates come around. Yeah, we can now get notified when new updates come around. And you know what? When I see those two things, the optional, hold on for a second. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Sorry, almost got tongue-tied. Almost lost my train of thought there, getting tongue-tied. But anyway, what I seem to notice when now we're getting this optional update to download, which is labeled a preview in the parentheses, and now we're also getting the option to be notified. You know what that tells me? That tells me that I'm not the only one that's voicing the complaints about this. That tells me that that Microsoft is noticing that people like me are getting sick and tired of this. And that if you're going to have us do updates, then why don't you just take the option of pausing them away and just have us do it every other Tuesday of every month. That way, we're not tempted to be like, oh, well, we don't want to do the updates right now. We'll just pause them for a second or pause them for about a week, and that's it. It's almost like I said, it's not worth having if you're constantly going to keep fighting against it. Your computers are just going to want to keep going and going and going. And what's crazy is I asked Microsoft's Bing AI, the chat AI, and I asked Bard on Google and even ChatGPT, and they've all said something similar to an extent that basically the reason you get, the feeling of something trying to basically update itself when you have them paused, when you have the updates paused, is it's trying to install the updates or doing something in the background that's similar to updates, but it shouldn't. And that maybe there's a miscommunication or something not working in the system. No, to me, it's a miscommunication on Microsoft's end. It's a miscommunication on Linux's end, Mac's end, Apple's end. They need to fix this. They need to fix this because, again, if you're insistent on people getting updates, then guess what? Don't give them the option to pause, because they'll pause as long as they can until they can't anymore. So what you need to do as a corporation, your software divisions, what they need to do on the next installments, you need to make the announcement that there will be no more pause option. That the next major update, you're going to take that away, and we have to deal with the updates whether we like it or not. That's what you should do. That's what you should do because, right now, when people pause the updates, they don't expect the computer to act up any more than it should. It should have the knowledge of, okay, updates are paused, I'm not going to push it. It shouldn't try to fight it and say, hey, I want to do updates. Shouldn't have to do that. So, once again, in closing, I know it may have sounded like I rambled a lot here, and this may have not made a lot of sense to some people, but once again, we have, software places like Microsoft and the Windows division, just like Mac has their division, Apple has theirs, and Linux and all of them have theirs. Once again, we have proof in the pudding, if you will, proof in the pudding that it don't matter if you pause your updates, they're still going to insist you do them by even fighting against it and kind of screwing up your computer. But let me know what your thoughts are. Have you ever had this issue to where you look at the fact that, okay, I know an update's coming up, but I don't want to do it. I'm going to pause it for at least another few weeks or so I can get stuff done, and everything without being disrupted. Have you ever had this issue to where you've done that and your computer starts acting like it wants to do the update, like it's trying to fight against it? Let me know your thoughts. Give me your experiences if you had any on this front. And until next time, guys, take care. God bless. Support me in the links in the description, and I am out.